Father Maurer for those words. At this time, our next speaker is going to come forward, Mrs. Colleen Boland Toder. Said that right? Colleen has been married to her husband, Dave. She has here actually beautiful husband, Dave. We don't want to leave that out. For nearly 16 years. They have 6 children ranging in ages from 3 to 15. Colleen presently lives in New Paltz. She writes and speaks on issues concerning human dignity when she's able to, and teaches natural family planning with her husband Dave through the Couple to Couple League. Colleen, please come up and have some words with us.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Just as an aside, I've been studying the Constitution with my 5th and 7th graders, so today is a very wonderful field trip day for us. It's humbling to remember that the sacrifices and the struggles of the founders, imperfect men though they were, they gave us this amazing document, the Constitution, that bases the government on the consent of the governed, and it outlines our fundamental rights as citizens, a republic if we can keep it indeed. There is no movement by religious conservatives to outlaw contraception. Although the government would like Americans to believe that there's a war on women going on, we know the truth. The real issue we face is whether or not the federal government has the power to force people to purchase a product which violates their conscience and the free exercise of their religion, contravening the First Amendment of the United States of America. At our nation's founding, Catholics were a small minority and unwelcome in many parts of the country. However, because of the guarantee of freedom of religion, millions of Catholics emigrated to the United States to help build our nation. Today, Catholics are about 22% of the population of the country as a whole. Catholic organizations serve the poorest and most vulnerable without regard to age or creed or sex or income level. They run hundreds of hospitals comprising the nation's largest group of nonprofit systems, serving millions of patients with dignity. St. Francis Hospital in Poughkeepsie, my hometown, was founded with love and only $5 by the Sisters of St. Francis and the assistance of Catholic women's organizations. Catholic schools educate nearly 2.5 million students. St. Catherine Ann Drexel founded Xavier University and many schools for Native Americans and black children throughout the Southwest and the South. Mother St. Francis Xavier Cabrini came to this country from Italy to serve the poor in New York City and other places, and she worshiped in my home parish of St. Augustine in Highland while she was establishing schools in the Hudson Valley. Throughout New York State, Fidelis Care ensures health care for 725,000 people. It is the biggest provider of health care insurance to low-income people in the state. Catholic Charities of New York coordinates a network of nearly 100 agencies that last year served hundreds of thousands of the most vulnerable and needy, including immigrants, drug addicts, women in crisis pregnancies, and victims of domestic violence. These Catholic organizations exist entirely because of the desire of individual Catholics to follow their conscience and religion. The command of our founder to love one another as he loved us is obeyed by those who support these organizations with their time, their money, and their love. Serving millions of Americans, Catholic and non-Catholic alike, they flourish in a land in which the fundamental right of people to exercise their religion freely without state interference is guaranteed. in our Constitution. Many of these organizations are not run directly by the church, but by women and orders of religious women and affiliated institutions that follow distinctly Catholic directives to uphold and protect the dignity of each person. These organizations, under the mandates imposed from Health and Human Services, will be forced to violate their religious beliefs under the provisions of Obamacare that require employers to pay for abortion-inducing drugs, sterilizations, and contraception coverage, or face fines of $100 per day per employee. The Catholic Church has consistently taught that these practices are incompatible with the Catholic religion. The Obama administration offered what it called a compromise to pass on the costs of contraception, abortion, sterilization to the insurers so that employers do not pay for it directly. But this is farcical. Insurance companies cannot provide any service for free. The costs will be passed on to the employers paying for insurance coverage. Our nation is drowning in debt, which the Congressional Budget Office estimates will be 190% of gross domestic product by 2035. The CBO just released an estimate this past week that the costs of the ludicrously named Patient Protection and Affordable Health Care Act will be $1.76 trillion over 10 years, more than twice what we were originally told. The current debt is nearly $50,000 per American. My 3-year-old is $50,000 in debt, God bless her, or over $137,000 per taxpayer. Mandatory entitlement spending amounts to about 60% of all government spending. But instead of seeking budgetary reforms and dealing with these existential problems, the administration and its allies falsely raise the specter of theocratic forces set to punish women and interfere with their personal choices. But the problem is not Catholics or Catholic organizations that seek to serve people in dignity. The problem is governmental overreach. Even people who might support access to contraception can recognize that it is dangerous for Americans to yield to the government the power to supersede our constitutionally guaranteed rights. We heard before, Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. If this essential, universal human right, which has helped guide our nation and make her a beacon of freedom around the world, can be abrogated by unelected bureaucrats and partisan politicians, it is easy to imagine a different political climate in which other policy decisions will override other constitutionally guaranteed rights. We are here today to make a stand, to stand up and declare that we oppose this unconstitutional power grab. The matter at hand is not a threat to women's access to contraception. The matter at hand is the unconstitutional and unprecedented seizure of power by the Obama administration. Thank you.